Welcome back to another Diablo 4 build guide. Today I'll be talking about the Poison Twisting Blades Rogue build, as well as a few other paths you can take if you prefer a slightly different playstyle. This build guide will have a little bit of something for everyone, so you're going to want to stick around, so you can fully prepare for the official release of Diablo 4. If you want to stay up to date with the best builds in Diablo 4, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. We have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. Alrighty, for your first level you're going to put 1 point into the puncture skill. For your second level, you'll be putting 1 point into the enhanced puncture to unlock your core skill tree. Third level, you'll be putting 1 point into your core skill twisting blades. This is the most important skill in your entire build as it provides all of your damage. Initially, you impale your target, dealing 45% damage and making them take 8% more damage from you while they are impaled. After 1.5 seconds, the blades return to you, dealing 72% damage to all enemy it pierces on the way back. This skill makes up for some amazing combos with your dash ability, allowing you to impale a target and dash behind a massive group of mobs so that the returning daggers pierce through all of them. Fourth level, you'll get enhanced twisting blades, dealing 30% increased return damage. Fifth level will be fundamental puncture. This is important for the main fact that fundamental puncture will always grant vulnerable to the target if they are hit with at least 2 of the 3 throwing blades. What vulnerable does is makes a target take an increased 20% damage from you. This also later on synergizes very well with some extremely strong legendary gear that you can find. Essentially, your basic attack should always be proccing vulnerable as you'll be in melee range. Next, you'll be putting 1 point into the sturdy passive. This will unlock the agility skill tree. Level 7, you'll unlock the dash skill, which allows you to maneuver around the map extremely well. This synergizes best with the twisting blade skill, as you can impale a target, position yourself properly to where you're near a big group of mobs, and then the twisting blades returning to you will deal crazy AoE damage to them. Level 8, you'll want to unlock Shadow Step. This is a great initiation tool and just a placeholder until we unlock our ultimate skills. Level 9, you'll want to be getting the advanced twisting blades now that we have skills that will be going on cooldown. This did get nerfed during the most recent beta, but still provides for a good amount of cooldown reduction. This cooldown reduction is applied to the rest of your skills that are currently on cooldown, and this is extremely effective during the early game. However, we will change this to the improved twisting blades to get the dazed ability once we have found legendary gear that synergizes for that. This gear synergized with the dazed ability will provide for some insane amount of DPS. For level 10 and 11, you'll be putting both points into twisting blades, putting you at a total of 3 points into the twisting blade skill. This is solely to add to your DPS, and this is also going to unlock your subterfuge skills. Level 12, you'll be unlocking the poison trap. Once upgraded into countering poison trap, this will have a 30% chance to reset your imbuement skills. This synergizes extremely well with the twisting blades cooldown reduction and the inner sight specialization. The inner sight specialization gives you unlimited energy for 4 seconds, allowing you to constantly spam your twisting blades, which ultimately allows you to place more traps and poison imbuement skills due to the fact that you'll have the cooldown reduction from the twisting blades. If you do prefer a high crit build and a less ability spamming, you would substitute this skill for concealment, and then you'd be speccing into the countering concealment skill. This will grant your next ability a guaranteed critical strike once exiting concealment. Mix this with your poison imbuement twisting blade skill. This can provide for some insane damage that instantly is applied. Concealment is also great for negating crowd control effects as it provides unstoppable. Mix this skill with your combo point specialization and you have a massive crit damage ability every time you're able to use the concealment skill. If you enjoy spamming your abilities more often, poison traps are the way to go, but if you enjoy a more tactical approach that makes you input a certain combo, I would go for the concealment skill, as it's going to provide for some insane instant damage off your crits. Level 13, you'll be getting enhanced poison, which allows your poison traps to knock enemies down for 1.5 seconds. Level 14 and 15 will be used to max out your twisting blade skill. Level 16, if you're not dying, I would get the weapon mastery passive. If you're having trouble living though, I'd be putting another point to sturdy. Level 17, you'll be unlocking the poison imbuement skill. This synergizes extremely well with twisting blades and will be providing a ton of single target and AoE damage. Once you unlock the blade dancer aspect, this will provide for some insane poison AoE. The blade dancer aspect makes all twisting blades that return to you orbit around you for a few seconds, applying the poison imbuement to all enemies hit. Level 18, now that you have your poison imbuement, you'll be finally upgrading countering poison trap, granting you 30% chance to reset all imbuement cooldowns. Level 19, you'll be unlocking enhanced poison, giving you an extra second to the poison damage from poison imbuement. Level 20, you'll be unlocking mixed poison, giving your poison imbuement skills a 30% chance to apply double damage over the time. And with the constant ability spamming with your imbuement skills, this will probably happen very frequently. If you decide to go the concealment route, you will be wanting to get blended poisoning for your imbuement skill. This is going to give you a 75% increased damage off of a crit, which will be every time you break concealment. Level 21, you'll be getting Deadly Venom. This increases all poison damage by 3%. Level 22 and level 23, you'll be getting Debilitating Toxin, reducing poisoned enemies' damage by 10%. Survivability is always good, and with the current build that we have, we do already dish out a ton of damage. Once you hit level 24, you're going to despec Shadow Step and put that point into Debilitating Toxin, as you'll be unlocking Shadow Clone for your last skill. Shadow Clone is going to mimic your attack, so when you're spamming your poison traps and poison twisting blades, your clone will mimic that exact same thing. This will increase your DPS on all bosses substantially. Level 25 and 26 will be going towards maxing out your ultimate skill. This will provide you unstoppable once you activate your ultimate, so it is not wasted if you activate it at a poor time. That would essentially get you CC'd during a boss fight. Level 27 through level 30 will be used to max out your poison imbuement. Level 31 through level 34 will be used to max out your poison trap. Then level 35, you'll want to unlock close quarters. This will proc off your twisting blades and puncture auto attack that causes vulnerable. This will cause you to deal 20% increased damage to all crowd controls enemies, which this build has a lot from your traps knocking enemies down to when we respec your twisting blades to cause daze. Level 36, you'll unlock the Adrenaline Rush passive. This gives you energy regeneration based on movement, which is the ideal playstyle for the rogue to always be moving around the battlefield with your dashes and dodges. Level 37 through level 39, you'll be maxing out Impetus, providing 21% increased damage on your next attack after moving 15 meters, which again, movement is your ideal playstyle for this class and easily to do with your dash skill. Level 40 and level 41, you'll be maxing out Deadly Venom for even more poison damage. Level 42, you'll max out the Sturdy passive, giving you more damage reduction. Level 43 and level 44 will be used to max out Adrenaline Rush. Level 45 through level 47 will max out Weapon Mastery. For this one, I prefer the Swords Weapon Mastery, as the flat 9% increased damage is far better than the Dagger's passive buff. Level 49 and level 50, you'll spend the rest of your points into Aftermath, restoring 50 energy after using your ultimate skill. You can choose to follow this build exactly how I just showed and be extremely successful in the launch of Diablo 4. But I do want to go into more depth of a few variations of this build that will be based on the in-game experiences, your playstyle, and even gear drops. Poison Trap is not a must-have skill and it can be replaced with several different options. If you're in need of being more tanky, I would swap this skill out for the Dark Shroud. At max rank for Dark Shroud, this is a 20-second cooldown. You surround yourself with up to 5 protective shadows, gaining 11.2% damage reduction per active shadow. That damage is reduced and a shadow is consumed. Then I would spec in the Enhanced Dark Shroud. This is going to allow your Dark Shrouds to have a 10% chance not to be consumed upon hit. And then after that, I'd go into Subverting Dark Shroud. Each active Dark Shroud grants a 4% increased movement speed. So if you have 5 Dark Shrouds active, you're going to have a 20% increased movement speed, which will make you flying around the map even quicker. Next build variation, I would substitute Poison Trap for Shadow Imbuement, depending on the gear aspects I find throughout my playthrough. There are several synergistic imbuement aspects, and here are just a few of them. We have Aspects of Corruption. Your imbuement skill's effect have 20 to 40% increased potency against vulnerable enemies. We have Toxic Alchemist aspect. Damaging a poisoned enemy with a Shadow Imbued skill has a 75% chance to create a toxic explosion that applies X poison damage over 5 seconds to the target and surrounding enemies. There's also Aspects of Imitated Imbuement. Your Shadow Clone also mimics the imbuments applied to your skills. Casting Imbuement skill grants your active Shadow Clone 8 to 16% increased damage for 5 seconds. And then we also have Aspects of Unstable Imbuements. When casting an imbuement skill, you trigger an imbued explosion around yourself, applying the imbued effects and dealing X damage of the same type to enemies surrounding you. All of these aspects are extremely powerful for this build, as the whole objective is to proc the Inner Sight specialization, so that you have unlimited resource for 4 seconds. After that, you'll be able to spam your twisting blades, which will provide for great cooldown reduction on all of your imbued skills, allowing you to activate them more frequently, resulting in more aspect procs. I threw together a rough idea of some great aspects that work extremely well for this build. All of the aspects can be found as you progress through the storyline, so there'll be a 100% guarantee. I didn't want to throw anything in there that was luck based in this build, as the game isn't out yet, and there'll be another video when we have a better understanding of what will be best in slot for this class. The best thing about the Twisting Blades Rogue build is the fact that you truly only need one aspect to be insanely strong. That one aspect is going to be the Blade Dancer's aspect. What this essentially does is it makes your twisting blades orbit around you for a short time after they return to you, dealing 10 to 15% of the twisting blade's return damage per hit. Based on the distance the blade returned, the orbit damage is increased up to 20 to 30% of the return damage. This pairs extremely well with your poisoning imbuement, because even the twisting blades that orbits around you is going to inflict the poison damage on every enemy that it comes in contact with. This is an offensive aspect, so you're going to want to make sure you imprint it on either gloves, your offhand, your one-handed main weapon, or a two-handed weapon, as this is going to provide for 100% effectiveness of that aspect. If you do put it on a ring or an amulet, you will only be receiving 50% of that effectiveness. For a defensive aspect, I put on the aspect of disobedience. What this does is you gain 0.25 to 0.50% increased armor for 4 seconds when you deal any form of damage, stacking all the way up to 25 to 50%. This is extremely good as you're constantly doing AoE damage to a bunch of targets, providing you with that max 25 to 50% pretty much all times during combat. Another great aspect is the Edge Master's aspect. This is another offensive one. This allows your skills to deal an additional 10 to 20% increased damage based on your primary resource, receiving the maximum benefit while you have full primary resource. This synergizes extremely well with the inner sight specialization. Once you have tacked and marked enemies to fill up your inner sight gauge, this will provide you with unlimited energy for 4 seconds. So for that entire 4 seconds, you'll have max energy or max resource, giving you that additional 10 to 20% increased damage for the entirety of that duration. Another great codex of power will be the aspects of unstable imbuments. When casting an imbuement skill, you trigger an imbued explosion around yourself, applying the imbuement's effect and dealing X damage based on the same type. So if you're using poison imbuement, it's going to do poison damage. Same for ice imbuement and same for the shadow imbuement. The synergy with this one is actually insane, as you'll be using your imbuement skills quite frequently due to the built-in cooldown reduction that you're going to be receiving from the twisting blades and the possibility of getting a 30% chance to reset all your imbuement skills from poison trap. This will allow you to spam your poison imbuement a lot more frequently, also having you more opportunities to trigger that imbued explosion around yourself. For the final codex of power, I put on aspects of corruption. Your imbuement skills effects have 20 to 40% increased potency against vulnerable enemies. This is going to be quite frequently as you'll be using your basic attack, which will automatically apply vulnerable if you're hitting with at least 2 daggers. Next, I want to give you a quick stat breakdown for this build so you are aware of which stats will be the most important to you. Weapon damage is important as your skills scale their base damage using this value. Damage with your skills is extremely important as this build is mostly spamming of those skills, which provides all your damage output. We also want to focus on the damage with core skills as the twisting blades fits into this category, and this is your main source of DPS. If you can't find gear with the core damage on it, damage with imbued or damage with traps is also a great alternative, as those two are skills you use frequently, but the core damage stat does triumph this. Damage versus elites is extremely good, as you'll be wanting to max out your DPS on those harder enemies slash bosses. Damaging versus close is also a great stat, as this is a melee rogue build and you'll be up close and personal majority of the time. I hope this video helps prepare you for the launch of Diablo 4. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.